Welcome to this the third webinar of Smarter Together project. I'm very pleased to be here today and to present you the webinar from the city of Munich from Hanna Riemer, that she's
Muted.
for the renewal urban renewal office of Munich, and she's been responsible for all the activities in what regards retrofit and urban retrofit of residential private buildings. So what we are going to listen and to learn today is how consultancy and advising in activities and how the technical advising and financial advising for the private house retrofit is key activity also to allow and to trigger the activities of retrofitting. So I will start to give the floor to Anna, and she will do the presentation, and then you have the chance to do and make the questions either by raising your hand. So you have in the attendees you can raise your hand to, and then we'll give you the microphone, or you can just write down on the chat, and Anna also will read the questions and will put and try to answer as best as she can. So I wish you all a very, very good webinar, and I will give the floor to Anna.
Okay, thank you very much, Francisco. Hello, everybody. Here's Hanna from Munich, and I'm also very pleased to be here and to have the possibility to show some things. Yeah, we are doing here in Munich, or starting doing, or doing for some years already, or some things we are developing right now. I hope you can see the screen, and I will go through the presentation. And Francisco, I would ask you if there are some questions where you can step into the presentation and just give me a hint, so I don't know if I am able to follow the writings on the right side. Is it okay for you?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So let's start with the presentation. Well, Francisco already introduced you to the topic. It's about consultancy activities we are doing here in Munich for private housing retrofit. As we all know, and probably it is the reason why you are all here, it is really essential to build up a consultancy infrastructure for private refurbishment and for private owners, because it's a huge part of buildings we have to care about now and in the future. And there is a really big potential for saving energy and saving CO2 emissions and so on. In the part, or in the public buildings, there of course are many technical activities and fundings and possibilities how to retrofit these. And there's a little bit gap to the private owned and multifamily buildings. It's not the only gap in fundings or in technical reasons. It's also because private owners are often not really experienced enough to do big projects, to decide on such an amount of money they have to invest to get refurbished buildings. And they have to take decisions which sometimes are really risky for them and for their private life. So it's really, really important to build up a consultancy infrastructure, to give some help, to offer possibilities, and to also have tools to help these people go through this process and start energy thinking in a private sector. We also have different kinds of private owning of buildings. There are single owners who owns one building with one flat, one apartment, or even single owners or associations or organizations owning multifamily buildings. But there are also really really different kind of ownership, and it is the home owners associations. And I assume all of you know about this, but I just want to put one stress point on it, because homeowners associations are getting more and more important in our environmental area and in our refurbishment approaches. There are different figures, but it's about 40% of square meters in the European countries of living spaces are owned by shared ownership by homeowners associations. These associations have different legal backgrounds, but all together have one big point, and we probably all of us can say it's a really challenging group, because we have one building which is owned by several people. It can start with 2, and it doesn't end up in any, but we have in our target and in the district area, we have homeowners associations and buildings with over 300 owners. And each of this owner has its own age, financial situation, its own motivation, knowledge, technical knowledge, and social background, cultural background, and so on. There are different legal regulations all over Europe, but there are also within Germany different legal regulations for decisions for different refurbishment measures. So that doesn't mean that if you go to refurbish and you have one standard you want to achieve, and you want to change the windows, and you want to put insulation on the facade, that you have one decision for this. Because all the different measures maybe have different legal regulations of share of votes you have to achieve to be able to implement this measure. So it's not really easy to approach these people. It's not really easy to get these people into a process of planning, and it's much more worse to get these people to implement refurbishment measures in the end. But it's, as I already said, it's really important to get these people on board, because they are owners of a big share of our living space, and if we want to achieve our climate targets, we have to start to focus on them. Of course, consultancy activities for private housing retrofit have several benefits for the homeowners. A part of the money they have to invest, they get valued information, and their individual awareness will rise, and energy efficiency refurbishment has benefits in terms of energy and cost savings. The people will get or achieve healthy and comfortable indoor environment, and of course also the buildings will get a increase of sustainability and of value on the object. It's important to support these people with technical and financial expertise, to not to lose the track, not to lose the people on the track, doing some measures which are not really sustainable, which are not really suitable to the objects, just because they didn't know. On the other hand, consultancy activities are costly. Of course, you need personal, you need people who are doing this. You have to pay it. You need maybe some additional funds. And municipalities are not in every time eager to get through this. But there are also benefits for local and municipal strategies and policymakers doing this and implementing such infrastructures, such as they will get more information and awareness about the local situation in the district. They got more information about the local market, needs and barriers, about the social situation. They can or are able to design customized supporting service, so they are able to build up consultancy activities or to offer incentives which are really needed by the people and which are not really theoretical somewhere on the desk and not really practicable in the districts and on the objects. And of course, municipalities are responsible for achieving local environment agendas and CO2 saving goals, and they won't reach this when they are forgetting about the private housing sector. It is in the responsibility of municipal strategies and municipal people who are working for the cities to get implemented social sound solutions for areas with growing and overheated market, but also suitable solutions for housing markets with regressive tendencies. So for all municipalities, it is a good reason to get into this and build up maybe a methodology how to approach these people. Here on the next slide, you can see a legal definition of homeowners association as it is in Germany. I've already talked about it. I don't think it's necessary to go deeper on it. It's only one thing I want to say about it. Homeowners associations are multifamily housings, and each apartment is or each ownership is concluding a so-called separate ownership, which is kind of which could be an apartment, and also you are in ownership of a jointly owned property, which is part of this apartment and a part of common areas of the buildings, or even part of facilities and installations for the common use of the buildings. So you have, even in this ownership, you have two different kinds of ownership. The one is separate ownership on your own apartment and on the things in the apartment, like the floor or the doors. You can change, you can paint. Nobody will ask you about it. But you are an owner of jointly owned property, and there you are not able to decide on your own how to change it or how to destroy it, to refurbish it, so what. So in every time you have two focused areas, and you have decide which one of these areas is right now the one you are talking about. I just added a link of this act on the ownership of apartments, like it is called in Germany, Wohnungseigentumsgesetz. It is also translated into English, so if anybody is interested to go more into the details, here you can see it. I already talked about these different ownerships within one homeowners association, and there are some questions and relevant issues you have to define or you have to answer before starting any further steps. And it is about which part of the building, which part is to be refurbished, jointly owned property or separate ownership. Who is in charge to take a decision? Is it only you or is it the association? Which majority for resolution or for decision is required for this measure? Here it's not quite clear, even the legal aspects are not quite clear. There are many legal aspects you have to go through. So each measure and each situation, individual situation on the object has to be verified and proved maybe by a lawyer to get really reliable decisions from the association. And of course, who is paying the costs, which is probably the most important aspect in refurbishment for private people. For homeowners associations and for private homeowners, there are many and different financial schemes which are possible to get to finance refurbishment measures. And they are in Germany, I think since 4 or 5 years, there are special loans for homeowners associations. It was not possible before this time to get a loan for a homeowners association. It's quite new, and even some homeowners associations are not really aware of it. So it's not if a homeowners association is getting into a refurbishment process and making plans for this refurbishment, and they have amount of money they have to invest, they can look if they have the possibility to get a loan, which is a common loan for the whole association and not for each individual owner. And it's really important because individual owners maybe have difficulties to get loans for them because they are too old or they don't have enough money, and they have to bring it to lawyer and to draw it down to the district. I just don't know, but it's that matter. It's quite good that now it is possible, and I don't know if it is possible in other European countries, but here in Germany some banks are already offering this loans for homeowners associations, which indeed make it a lot of more possible to get into bigger investments than it was a few years ago. Yes, once you are in front of a homeowners associations, you are already quite far. When I started to work for my urban renewal office here in Munich, it was in 2014, we didn't even know any homeowners association in our district. And our urban renewal office was quite empty. And now I want to explain you how the city of Munich is approaching urban renewal projects and how it's the methodology to get to the people, to get to the situation, to get to the hotspots where do you have to work. The city of Munich is using urban development funding for different areas around Munich, as you can see on this map, for already 40 years. And the biggest one, the yellow one in the western part of the city, as you can see, is the urban redevelopment renewal area called Neuaubing-Westkreuz, which is also part of our Smarter Together project. I assume some of you know Smarter Together project, or even colleagues of me working on this project. This renewable, or this redevelopment district was the first district in Germany which had energy as a topic for the renewable, for urban redevelopment. Before this, there were social and constructional redevelopments in other parts of the cities, and energy was not a relevant issue until then. And in 2014, it was the first area in Munich, but also in Germany, and the biggest area in Germany, which concluded that energy relevant measures are really important because they have impact on the social structure and on the local market. So our urban renewable energy office was installed then. Just a few facts to the company I am working for. It's the Münchner Gesellschaft für Stadterneuerung. And this is a kind of daughter of the city of Munich. And we are responsible to work together with the colleagues from the city of Munich to get the actions rolled out in the development areas around Munich. In Neuaubing-Westkreuz, this project area or this district, I will talk about, now. There are two teams which are responsible for the whole district. One team is for the general situation and the political relationships, for socially relevant issues, for cultural and for local economy issues. And one team, which I'm belonging to, is just doing the energy stuff. Starting in such a big district, it is important to make preliminary studies and analysis to allocate measures and goals, to implement projects in the further process, and of course to work there, to have an office there that people can just come around and pop in and make a small talk, or even get some information they need. I also assume the people who are attending this webinar are well aware about the different interests of energy and this really wired system. We have climate goals, but we have tenants who cannot pay so much money on energy or on costs caused by energy efficient refurbishment. We have owners and homeowners associations. We have targets like getting more living space for people, especially in overheated cities like it is in Munich. So energy is not the, how to say, it's not the kick-off for big projects. Energy is also not the knockdown topic of projects, but it should be, and it already is, a topic which is relevant to refurbishment, which is relevant to new constructions, which is relevant to social aspects in a district area. So the urban redevelopment funding is concentrating on this, and it is possible with this funding to allocate such a consulting infrastructure as we have in Munich. A few years ago, I talked about it, 2014, we started to work in this district area, and some years before this year, there were this initial analysis, and there was an integrated urban development concept worked out, and an energy development plan for this area, which is concluding scenarios of development and energetical targets, which is focusing on action priorities, and which is defining measures on district level. The energy team, as you can see in the second gray tab under the first one, the people changed a little bit, but still there is a team of now 4-5 people which is doing holistic concepts on local and building level. We are focused on integrated implementation of refurbishment measures in public, but also in private sector. We are offering the so-called refurbishment and energy tool. I will come back to it. We have our e-manager, which is database for relevant district and building data. And this database is also offering us evaluation tool and monitoring tool on district and project level. So with this equipment, we started our work, and if you take a look on the targets, we got set it to this area. They are quite similar to the German and to the targets of the city of Munich, which is 50% CO2 savings until 2030 and CO2 neutral energy supply until 2050. And a special figure for Neuaubing-Westkreuz, according to the energy plan, was to get increased rate of refurbishment on objects for about 2%. Normally, it's under 1% in Germany, and refurbishment of heating systems of about 3% per year. That's quite a lot, and we didn't achieve it in the last 3 or 4 years. But we hope with the help of Smarter Together, we got a little bit pushing effect to it, and get into first really big refurbishments this year. The target of standard is to refurbish buildings up to so-called new building standard, which is the national standard in Germany, and also to increase the rate of connection to the district heating, which is geothermal based in Neuaubing-Westkreuz. And I think the biggest or the most important target is to do all this, but with a social sound implementation of measures. That means not to do luxury refurbishments, not to push refurbishment until the people or the tenants are not able to pay their rents and have to move, out of the city and out of the district. So the city is, with my company, responsible to develop funding system, additional funding system, to, on the other hand, push the refurbishment to this national new building standard, which is not too high, but it's high enough to reach our climate goals. And on the other hand, because the prices in Germany and especially in Munich are really, really high, and the energy costs are really, really low, this funding scheme have to level this difference a little bit. So the rents after the refurbishment are not rising that much as it will be on a free market or without the funding schemes. Most of you know this picture, know the area. The blue areas of the district are multi-housing areas, condominiums from the 17th on the eastern part and from the 60s on the western part. And in the middle, there are single and detached houses with single ownerships almost. And we can divide this area as it is on this colored scheme. On the eastern part, the most of the buildings are owned by homeowners associations. And these are also the buildings we are dealing with in refurbishment approaches now. The district has about 350 hectares and about 23,000 residents, which is a small town, but it's still part of the city, and it's surrounded by the districts, by another district of the city. Yeah, we have many targets, many goals, and how do we achieve it? And you can see my colleague, Georg Schmidt. I am working with since 4 years now. And he is the one man who started this energetical consultancy office and who worked also on the energy plan. And he is the one who says, G up for energy, identificate with energy, demonstrate and show chances. Come on, come on. Of course, we have some instruments for implementation of our consultancy, as it is the district and energy management in form of our teams. We have refurbishment and energy check. We have quite lively public relation work. We have a funding model for energy refurbishment since December last year. We offer free consultation for modernization projects or for refurbishment projects. We also talk about funding, other funding or financing schemes for people who wants to refurbish and to go into big projects. They need also consultancy on these topics. And of course, we are not only focusing on owners and on refurbishment objects, but it's also important to get into energy education, to get into schools, to be on events, to show energy, to show possibilities, and also to show possibilities to saving energy in households, not even to make insulation on a facade, which is a big deal of a task, of a project, but also possibilities how everybody can change his own situation a little bit with really, really small measures or really small things. These are our 2 district and energy offices. We are 24 hours a week available for people. These offices are also used for meetings, for information. So the people are now really getting to know about us. They can remember, sometimes they come in and ask what are new projects, not only about energy, but also about social aspects and local market and local economy. I'm really glad to have these offices because getting people into the city, it's not possible. If you want to get people, to inform people, you have to go to the people, and if you don't know them, you have to offer a good spot. The people are have the possibility to come in. Yes, offering consultancy needs not only people and not only the hotspot, but also effective toolkit. And I already talked about this refurbishment and energy check, which is probably the most powerful instrument we have. It is 100% free of charge due to funding of the municipality of Munich, which is a really, really great deal, and which is, I think, the best one we have. This check offers the owners or the owners associations a very deep energy and technical analysis of the building. Sorry. It shows options for refurbishment. It includes cost and funding schemes. And also the energy certificate is included. One moment, please. So we are really proud of this, and we evaluated our check nearly every year, and are very keen on this to develop it for the special needs of the people, and to go on with it and to adopt it to new situations. And as you can see on this slide, we already consulted with this check over 150,000 square meters, which is about nearly 40,000 square meters a year. And the feedback we are becoming from the people is really, really positive, because they say it's a quite good possibility to get some knowledge about the object, about the building, about the possibilities. It is a door opener, because of this 100% of funding. The people don't have to make a big decision about doing it or not. Especially homeowners association would have a problem to get the decision for this, because for big objects or for big buildings, it's not really cheap. It's not really cheap, and it costs a lot of money. But the city of Munich is aware of it, and it is offering amount of money every year for doing this. And also our evaluating results are really, really positive. It's not about only making this check and then give it to the people back and then let them alone. No, it's about getting to the people are getting to us, we are all informed, and some people are going with it and make their own decisions and make their own refurbishments. Some people are coming back and stay in this consultancy process, and we can develop common projects and we can support them, yeah, until the end of the project. This is one slide to show you, yeah, how to show you the screenshot of our database. I've talked about in the beginning. It is, yes, we are dealing with a district which is about the size of a small town or really big village, and there are many people working on this, and so you need a kind of database to sum up all the informations of the objects of the district level, of the contacts you have, and this database is also offering us calculating tools, and it's based on, in the very beginning it was based on simulations and calculations, and it's based on a 3D model of the district. And now we are using this informations like solar potential or potential to get connected to the district heating, to get the first information or initial information of the object, and to be able to talk to people and know a little bit already about their building, and getting into a further process. We are storing our knowledge or our informations also in this database, so another colleagues can pick it up and go on with the work without losing any knowledge. So it's a kind of knowledge transfer within the team. Of course, there is a big issue about data consistency and data relevant issues. So we are well aware to only store data which is allowed, or which is where the people are allowing us to store, and only a inner circle of people and of colleagues have admission rights to this database. So the strict data policy, we take care about it. I think I already mentioned the specific local funding for energy refurbishment. We got the admission in November, December last year, and it's an additional funding for this local district, for Neuaubing-Westkreuz, and it's because the city can define really high energetical targets, like if you want to refurbish, you have to refurbish until a new standard or new building standard, which is defined by energy efficiency law in Germany. But getting to the private people, they say, well, why should I do it? My legal standard is far about 40% above this, and it doesn't cost me that much money. So what are you offering me to get to this standard? And that's the reason why our company and together with the colleagues from the city of Munich developed this funding scheme for housing estates with more than 3 units and with residential use. And it is only available in this district area. It's like a pilot project. And the people will get 30% of the expenses for the energetical refurbishment standard up to national new building standard. And also renewable systems will get funded, and also residents' participations or additional legal expertise, especially for homeowners associations, can be funded by this. This is a really important step to get forward and to achieve good projects in the next few years. We have budget about 1.5 million, which which could help to refurbish about 20 until 30,000 square meters of living space. And we have already 3 or 4 projects appealing for this funding system, and who are already in planning phase to start the refurbishment works this year. Additional to this local funding program, we were really lucky or happy to get the Smarter Together program in our district area, which is of course not only about energy, it's about much more aspects and issues, like you can see here on the slide. It's about mobility and mobility stations, smart services, via app, it's about technology. We have integrated smart data platform and already implemented smart lighting labs, and we have a smart neighbor. We had a smart city app, which is called now, and we have this citizen engagement aspect, which is helping all the issues of mobility, energy, and technology to get into the people, to get into the district, to make the people aware of this, and to offer the people the possibility to also work on some aspects of this smart city project called Smarter Together in Munich. In the energy task, which I'm responsible for, we are working on concepts for holistic and energy efficiency building refurbishment, and with many other partners who are involved in this project, like Better West, Fraunhofer from EBP, and the 5 partners, I don't know how to translate it now. We are working on implementation of renewable systems, PV systems on schools, and get them connected to a virtual power plant, which is our local municipal energy supplier offering. SVM, this is the energy supply organization of Munich, is implementing this week, I think, a battery storage and a virtual power, and connected it to its virtual power plant, and to make integration of decentral power systems, also of private buildings, possible to get into this and to better up the market. We are working on, or we tried to work new innovative financial concepts together with Better West, which is a company who is dealing with who has developed a crowdfunding platform and contracting platform, and we had 3 contracting projects planned in the area, but until now, unfortunately, no one of them was implemented. But there is, we are still hoping that some of them will get implemented and that we get the right decisions for it. And we are also working with the Technical University of Munich and with Securitas, which is offering energy boxes for convenient and healthy living space environment. It is offering boxes which measure humidity and room temperature for private people or for tenants, for owners. And you on the app you can monitor your ventilation habits, or if there is a need for improvement of it, you also get information about it. Getting back to our homeowners association, and it was a small excursus for Smarter Together. I just wanted to give you some figures. We have 250,000 of square meters of objects in the ownership of associations, and approximately 2 of 3 of it were built in between the 60s or in the 60s, 70s, and the beginning of the 80s. So as you can imagine, the energetic standard, it's not the best. We have growing maintenance and modernization necessities within these objects, but still we are a homeowners, or we have homeowners, or we have to deal with homeowners associations, which means we have divergent interests of individual owners. We have a really high average age of the owners. We have not enough reserve funds to pay big projects from this. We are working with a quite outdated form of legal background. You can imagine this law for homeowners associations was created in the 50s, and it was only it is the goal to get a legal structure for associations, and its only goal was to maintain buildings, to let them be as they are, and to make some reparations in this. It was not meant to do energetical refurbishment on it. The government is working on this law already, and there are some improvements in preparation, but it's still not enough to make energetical refurbishment more possible, unless it is a maintenance need. So many associations are not going into it because they are afraid to get into legal obstructions and so on. Of course, a homeowners association is a group of people who are really different, and often there is a lack of professional expertise, and also the property managers are not in every time really expertise with technical issues like energy efficiency or technical measures on the object. So there is a big need to offer a consultancy which is free of charge, or which is funded to lower the costs of experts, but to offer homeowners association this, to be able to make sustainable refurbishment concepts for implementation. now I talked a lot about how we address these challenges and risks, and how we try to get through this really, yes, time-taking, time-consuming process. It's not only on the side of the homeowners association, it's also on the side of our urban renewal office. Some projects we are dealing with, we know them for 4 years now, so it's not like have fast success. it's kind of yeah, waiting time in between. But yes, we can get new projects in between also. So we try to optimize the refurbishment process. Our consultancy process with additional expertise like legal advisors. 1 year ago, we implemented, or we invited a legal expert of homeowners association law to us to go with us to the consulting meetings, to the people, to help us much more to understand where are the problems. And it's not that easy, because none of us is a lawyer, and we learned a lot of it. And we also learned that every object is different, and every situation is different, and the law is not really easy to understand. Within the Smarter Together, we get up all our knowledge and all our expertise to a so-called roadmap. And this roadmap has following targets. It has to support an integral or integrated refurbishment process in homeowner associations, to offer energy efficient solutions, to raise the share of renewable energy systems, maybe to integrate mobility and electricity issues within the refurbishment process. We want to enable participation of all stakeholders, because nowadays we are, of course, talking to tenants, we are talking to owners, we are talking to our experts, we are talking to property managers, we are talking to municipal decision maker, and all of these people, or all of the stake or shareholders have their own background and have their own knowledge on and their own interest on this. So we think this roadmap have to support these different levels with different depths of knowledge, and has to be addressed and suitable for these people and for the needs of these people. And we also think that moderation, evaluation, and documentation of all the stages of the process is really important to evaluate our approach, to evaluate a single approach of other people, of other cities maybe. And we will wrap up this essences of our work and sum it up in this roadmap, which is of course only a small focus from Munich and from our situation. And we think that national and international knowledge transfer could take place also through Smarter Together, and also with the discussions with lead cities and follower cities. And we have Fraunhofer Gesellschaft on board, which is quite agile in replication sector, and also our experts and project partners are involved in replication discussions and in the discussions with the follower cities, because as I said, it's really necessary to adjust all the stuff I've talked about to other European countries, because the law is differenting, the structures of the homeowners association is differing from the German market. But I think as a base for building up consultancy infrastructure with people, with schemes, with funding schemes, it is quite valuable. I will just go, because we have already 1 hour past, I will go right quick through this roadmap structure. It has different phases. The initial phase is this building up to how to find a hotspot, how to find the right district, how to find the right object. Then it begins the consultation phase once you know your people, once you know your objects. Consultation about financing, funding possibilities, which is of course different in every country, in every local, in every region. Then some advices or information about the decision-making process, kind of moderation, risk analysis, legal expertise, phase of monitoring, which is of course even really important to get the right data and to collect the right data. And for the people, I think, or for the private owners, it is high valuable to get security and risk set of the project they do. They get time advantage, because some of the decisions can get a little bit earlier than in a normal process, and they get comprehensive expertise, holistic expertise, and suitable measures for their individual objects, quality assurance measures, and so on and so on. All of this, you can work and work and work, and if you don't talk about it, maybe you will have less success than if you talk about it. And we have a quite agile communication team here in Munich, which is helping us to implement the topic of energy in the district, in the people, and to make it visible. They helping us to organize workshops and events, to have a good website with informations, and of course we have our district office. We are doing quite a lot for press and for printed communication, but still it's yes, we are organizing expert lectures for owners, but still in my experience, you have to go to the people, you have to find the people, and you have to talk with them. And the best possibility to get to the people is to participate in events, to use the local and regional events to set up your information and to bring you in there, and people will pass by and maybe ask you a question, and then maybe a new contact will start. So don't forget about events and about parties and involving politics, housing, construction, companies, because these stakeholders are also really, really relevant for the success of your work. Yeah, I will finish now. It's time to get to work again. For all of you, thank you very much for being here, and also for all the people who get one completely hours through this. It's a lot of work, and but it's quite nice work, and I hope we will get many successful years, not only in our district but only in our city, and in hopefully in your cities. Here is a kind of summing up the many slides I talked about. Thank you very much. I would like to give back to Francisco. Francisco?
Thanks. Yes, I was unmuting my phone. No, my microphone. Thank you so much, Anna, for this good and great presentation. These webinars are always great because people can explain a bit more into detail the process and the project and the involvement of people. So I hope you also liked the presentation. I was important to highlight that this presentation will be available online, so it will be uploaded today or latest tomorrow to Smarter Together website and also to Energy Cities website. So you are more than welcome to share the presentation and watch it later. And I believe also Anna Hima is also very happy to answer to your questions if you have more later on. So you have in this slide that is in front of you, have her contacts. So she will be more than happy to answer if you have questions in the future. But now, and okay, we are running a bit late of time, but I think if you want, we would have time for 1 or 2 questions. There was someone that was asking a question that but already left, so wanted to, and so I can really see I would like to just to see the question, but yeah, he already left the room. It was I can read it, or Anna, maybe you can just go to the chat and see if you can really answer to his question, or although this person, Hank Koch, already left the room, but I'll take advantage of the other people that is attending. If you have any question, please raise your hand, and I'm happy to pass you the microphone.
Okay.
And are you reading the questions on the chat?
I try to. There is many questions on the chat.
Yeah. So do you think, because the person who asked already left, so it's written here left. So.
Okay. There was one question about if the energy check is the only instrument we have. I hope I could explain that we have more instruments. It's this energy check, which is free of charge, but we have this special local funding system, and we have this local a local office. People can come in and get their informations. There's another question. Can you hear me, Francisco?
Very well, very well.
Yeah, okay. What are your instruments to assist the process of energy and small work renovation? What are your instruments? It's again, it's this energy check, and which is available for big housing estates, but we also make an initial consultancy for also single houses, so people can come to our office and bring their building drawings with it and their information, or their offers they maybe have from some companies, and we can talk about it. And if we see a further need for information, we can advise him where to go or which expert would be available for him or suitable for him. If this is, and if you are energy and small work renovation, yes. Also, it's not every time about big renovation. You are completely right. It's sometimes about small renovations or renovations within this not shared ownership property by homeowners associations within the apartment. And also here we can give advices. We have architects, we have engineers, and we are energy experts with a certificate. So I think we can help a lot. And we have also the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, who is yeah, a big expert on physics, construction physics. So we can make some advisement on this also. I can't see it right. Is it a book or it is online, or can someone play with options and see the different results? I think it's again to this energy check. No, it's a booklet which is printed, and it's not a tool who can play with it. It's just an information paper for you about the energetic calculations, about the fundings, about the costs, and yeah, you get this information through our experts introduced. And we offer 3 options, minimum 3 options for refurbishment measurements. So refurbishment measures. So the people can choose between a really big refurbishment project or small works on energy, or even only maintaining works on the building. And of course, we are doing this refurbishment check with the people, with the information from the people. So everything we know about this building, we go to the building, we make measurements in the building, we talk about the building. This all information is included in the results of the energy check. This is what the homeowners in apartment buildings do not save for maintenance. Yeah. Do you sell the data to PV firms? Of course not. I think this question was related to our database. Of course not. We are a kind of governmental organization, and we are of course not allowed to sell any data. Only few people have from our institution and from the city of Munich have access to this data, and it's not even other owners can see the results of other buildings, and we definitely won't show our database to anybody. So the screenshot you have seen is it's the only one information you can get if you are external. Funding scheme, tell please more about it. Can you give an example? Yes, there's a slide for for this funding scheme, I said I talked about that this funding scheme is for buildings with more than 3 apartments, and it covers costs up to 30% of for the energy standard of a new building standard. And there is a calculation given by someone to 20,000 until 30,000 square meter living space, divided by 60 until 80 square units, 250 for 500 units available per unit of the yeah, when an association. I don't really understand the calculation, but if somebody is interested, you have my email now, and I can go in deep to answer some questions, because I'm just I can't see it properly on the screen. I don't know. I'm not quite used to this system, so I'm really sorry not to be able to answer now, but I will check it after this, and maybe if you are still interested, just write me email. Okay?
Great. So, is there any other questions that you want to take advantage of the fact that Hanna is here and can respond you directly? I don't think so. So, if you agree, Hanna, let's close this webinar.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time and to be here for sharing this very useful and very important information, and that normally people don't take care about of this consulting and how this advising is of so much importance for the technical works and also for getting funding and for this. The webinar will be available online, so everyone is more than welcome to watch it later and have the presentation later. Thank you, Anna, so much. I'll see you very soon. And thank you, everyone, for attending this webinar. Bye-bye.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye. Thank you.